Joining us now, former acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker. Sir, welcome back to Wake America.
Good morning, Carl. Good to be with you.
All right, so I know we discussed this earlier in the week, but what is the likelihood, 1 to 10, that this actually goes to any version of prosecution for Hunter?
Well, there is no doubt that there's been an ongoing investigation into Hunter Biden and his business dealings really for the last 4 years. And it just demonstrates the Department of Justice has been slow playing this case because of its sensitivities. And, I think that story that you pointed out about the 14 business associates that met with the vice president demonstrates exactly what Hunter Biden was doing. He was selling access to his then vice president father. And, I think if this was anyone that had an R after their name, they would have been prosecuted long ago. But because this is Hunter Biden, because this is a Democrats in control of the Department of Justice, they won't appoint a special counsel. And, they're just going to try to grind this out and see if they can get past this political storm. But, it's starting to ultimately affect the president, and this could be really bad news in the coming months.
Yeah. So let's talk about the actual charges. Let's say they do press charges or they indict him. What would the actual charges be?
So I think there's 3 categories of case and charges that they're looking at. The first would be the Foreign Agent Registration Act, which says that if you, represent an agent of a foreign power, and it's a very broad definition that you have to register with the Attorney General of the United States. The second category would be obvious tax charges. And, obviously drug users are not typically very good with money or keeping track of their finances. So I could see where he took business income and then converted that to personal use, spent it on, we've famously read about his lifestyle at the time. Yeah. And, didn't pay taxes on it. I could see that as a second thrust of the case. And I think the third thrust of the case is the corruption, just the general influence peddling. There's a lot of different areas that could, that could apply just depending on the scheme or artifice that, Hunter employed to try to, advantage the people he represented. So I think there's potentially a lot of different cases. The Department of Justice and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware is going to be best positioned to know what the actual evidence shows.
Real quick, I got less than a minute left. Let's turn to President Biden. What implications does this have if he does turn out to be the big guy?
Well, there's been some indications, and including from Hunter Biden's business partners, that Joe Biden kind of sat behind Hunter and used Hunter as his kind of pass-through. They shared accounts together, Hunter and Joe did. And so I think there's a lot of interesting intermingling here. This is one of those things where Joe Biden's been in politics for over 40 years. He let his son and his brother do the dirty work, and he benefited from it. And it's a kind of a disgusting, sort of family business that they conducted to try to take advantage of and line their pockets with his positions in power.
That's shocking. Former Attorney General Matthew Whitaker, we appreciate you joining us, sir.
Good to see you, Carl.
All right.